Hi everyone, it's Norman Kochnick here for Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. This is, I keep count these days, this is the 605th video, and in fact it's the 186th live video, which is quite incredible. And I'm welcomed and joined today by both, obviously, the supporters of the show, but also Nilakshi Sharma from India. How are you?
I'm good, Norman.
That's good. You look fantastic today. And then we have the not so fantastic, but still pretty fantastic, Reg Vernon, aka Banstead Boy from England.
Hi, Norman. It's a beautiful, beautiful day in England. It's 28 to 30 degrees today here.
Wow.
Bright and sunny, and it's a great day of sport ahead.
There's also some questions about, is it raining in India? Not.
No, not raining. It's pretty hot here today.
Okay. Well, apparently Sri Lanka is also clear. We're going to be joined by a very special co-host named Marley Esther, who is Sri Lankan, who is a sports journalist, model, TV star, movie star. She's got all these incredible attributes. She'll be joining us today as another co-host. I'm actually just posting a photo of her. She has a lovely red dress, and she's on her way to the venue. I can show you that now. I can show you that's what she's. Maybe you can't see it clearly. She's on her way, so she'll be there. She'll be outside the front of Premadasa Stadium, which is it's in Colombo too. I know it very well. It's very close to Colombo Central. Of course, they've got COVID issues as well, but seems to be okay. I'm not sure whether there's a crowd. I don't know. And we are also looking at a match where a very much under strength, you would argue, Sri Lankan side, based on injury, based on suspensions or bannings. I've been watching Dickwella, Kaushal Pereira, and a few others there, Mendes, I think, as well. So the reality is they're down on troops. They've got a very, 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 I have to argue, probably the most inexperienced Sri Lankan team in any format, even since their very first Test match, which they weren't even raw then because they were very experienced players. And if you look at their squad, I mean, really, it's quite a disappointment in terms of not necessarily they're not good players. They're all very fine, attacking young players. But Dasun Shanaka is captaining, he's an all-rounder, and Dhananjaya De Silva, who is a very good player, has played a bit of Sri Lankan top-level cricket as the vice-captain, both deemed to be all-rounders. They're heading the charge. Then that's really it. Dushmantha Chamira, who is a bowler who's of some pace. Really, Avishka Fernando, an opening batter. Really, Lahiru Udar, I think it's the Lahiru that I know who's a pretty good bowler. Quite frankly, it's Kumar. There's Lahiru Kumar who's a bowler. The rest, I have got very little to say about how good they are. Their levels of experience is very poor. It's going to be very, 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 very difficult for them to have any opportunity to prove themselves, especially early.
Rajitha, I think he's back, isn't he, Norman? Is Rajitha back? Rajitha, I think he's back. He's the opening bowler, quick opening bowler.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of experience, but Shanaka throwing him in, I mean, as captain, he's only played a handful of games. His figures, he's not a terrible player, don't get me wrong, but his figures don't really support him almost getting in the side, in the full strength side, let alone captaining it. But they had a few issues, haven't they? Finding anyone to captain the side. Big problems behind the scenes. It's such a shame.
It is a shame because, I mean, you could argue that sometimes when you've got a team that's under strength, they've got nothing to lose and they can play out of their skin. But I think in this case, they're coming up. So I'm just plugging in my computer. They're coming in against a red-hot Sri Lankan team. Sorry, Indian team.
Indian team, yeah.
Indian team, which is full of players that. We've got FS here. Hello, Barnstead Boy, Norman, and Lakshi. And I'm getting a phone call from Malia. So just see what was that. Give me a second.
Can I ask Nilakshi, do you think they're going to go with the two wrist spinners today? It's a big call. Kuldeep and Chahal will both play, do you think?
I think there's pretty good spinners in the team, except for Kuldeep and Chahal, because you see Varun Chakravarti is pretty skilled and there's Rahul Chahar. Those are pretty good spinner. And Kunal Pandya, he might also get chance because he's pretty good with the bat. So I don't think so. Chahal and Kuldeep will get a chance, at least in a first match. No, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was seen a few years ago as the big hope going forward for India that the two wrist spinners would be in the side. I think when they pushed away a little bit Ashwin to get in focus on Test cricket, that was the plan. And then, if memory serves, they played together in England, was it Birmingham or somewhere, and they went the distance a bit and haven't played together since. But I agree with you. I think it's a risk to look, wrist spinners are potential match winners, but they usually go for runs as well. And to play two can be, it's a risk to play two wrist spinners. It really is.
Yeah.
Are you talking about? Sorry, I was talking about Esther. She's setting herself up there.
Kuldeep and Chahal have got a chance of playing together here for the first time in about 2 or 3 years. I think I may be wrong. I'm pretty sure the last time they played together was in England, maybe in the world, might have been in the World Cup. But they went the distance that day, and they haven't played together since.
It is very confusing because there are, in fact, two Chahars. There's a Rahul Chahar and a Deepak Chahar, and there's also Chahal. Yeah. So there's quite a few names. Look, the reality is the Indian batting lineup with Shikhar Dhawan, Prithvi Shaw, the likes of Samson, Manish Pandey, Ishan Kishan. Sorry?
Surya Kumar Yadav.
Of course.
Everyone loves Sky. You can see Nalakshi, you love Sky.
Yeah, I think so. Also, Gaikwad. And,
you can tell.
They have so many
like the
players. But they have lots of players that they've got an enormous batting lineup. And bowling wise, well, there's also Krunal Pandya and Hardik Pandya. I don't know how they're going to pick their 11, quite frankly. Then you've got Navdeep Saini, you've got Bhuvanesh Galton as well, and Kumar. It's just an amazing team. Chakravarthi can play. There's just Sakaria. They have got so many players. It's almost hard to pick their 11. Really is. They're going to
hardly like England recently, which was very much a C team, if you like, against the Pakistan. We literally had to pick a complete different squad of 18 players. But with India, this is hardly that. This is a team full of international experience and class, really. I think that they'll beat Sri Lanka very, very easily. I think this depends, of course, if it really rips, if it's going to spin. But I think the stadium is known as a bit of a run-scoring ground, isn't it? Normally,
it is. It's very much about as paradise. But
yeah,
at the same time, it does take spin. But the Indian batting lineup, oh boy. I mean, really, Sri Lanka have to hope that they bat first, I would argue, because if they bat second, they'll be chasing a mammoth total. So they've got to try and put pressure on them. So Mookie says Daniel Alexander's going to cry today. Why is that? I'm not sure. Your play to watch out for in today's match certainly will have to be, Sky Kumar, Shikhar Dhawan and Prithvi Shaw, Ishan Kishan, they've all got something to prove, haven't they, guys? All of them have got something to prove.
Prithvi Shaw's under pressure, isn't he? He's not played, I don't think, for India since New Zealand in 2020. He's only played a handful of one-day games, but his average in the domestic competition back in India last year, I think, was 165. So he's coming in with a big reputation, and the Indian fans are calling for him big time. I think there's a big wave of support behind him, which adds to the pressure, doesn't it?
It does. We've got a Sri Lankan supporter, Ishan Siriwardena. Come on, Sri Lanka, very Sri Lankan name. Shabir Sheikh has also said Sri Lanka says it will be equal, but what they will say, I think he thinks India's a better team, they should win. So he's playing a mind game there, isn't he? As captain, he's actually coming out front up saying that despite being the Sri Lankan captain, he thinks India should win, which puts a bizarre form of pressure. Well, not really, but a little bit, I'll guess.
It's reverse engineering, isn't it? It's the it's the Imran Khan. Sorry, Nilakshi, you're too young to remember. It's the Imran Khan school of corner tiger captaincy, isn't it? When in the '87 World Cup he got his side in and said, "Look, we're going to get absolutely stuffed here, but we're Pakistan. We're behind. We're going to lose, but let's come out fighting." It's the reverse psychology form of captaincy.
Well, why would you not use that in a situation where it is, you're up against it? You've got to say something in that regard. You'd be crazy to say, "Oh, we're going to win." You could say you're going in with an attitude to play your best cricket, is what they should say, and they can improve. Don't forget there were three ODIs and 3 T20s smashed into what will be literally 10 days.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very tight schedule indeed.
Yeah, I agree on what FS has said here. I think you just put out, Norman.
Yeah.
I agree. It is very sad to see Sri Lanka not qualified yet for the 2020 World Cup. In my lifetime, well, not in my lifetime, I'm a bit too old, but in recent times, Sri Lanka have provided some of the best cricket you will see in all forms, but certainly in the shorter form with Kalawitharana. I think I'm right in saying he virtually rewrote the game in 2020 as a little opening bat. And one day, to be fair, it was one day as much as anything ODIs, wasn't it? Kalu came out and blasted it from the word go and altered the mindsets of every other side in world cricket. In the 96 World Cup, would that be right?
96 World Cup, certainly. It was amazing.
I mean, he altered the whole mindset of the way every side played the game in that tournament.
That's absolutely true.
And it would be such a shame. We need Sri Lanka. Cricket needs Pakistan. Cricket needs Sri Lanka. Cricket needs the West Indies.
Absolutely. They're the three most exciting teams, really.
Yeah, but
Indian batting team is as strong as current Australian T20 18 batting line. I would agree with that. I think that actually the Indian team now, if they played Australia and West Indies, would have smashed them. The
England A team would give a lot of sides a run for their money. If you think the England A team had Vince in it and Malan played, although he's possibly 18. But so India and England have got very strong strength in depth at the moment, very strong.
So the fact is, we've talked about the batters, but it's also a big series for Kuldeep Yadav because he has had little chance to play, so it's his chance to shine again.
Well, it's whether they play it, isn't it? Are they going to go with spinners? Because they'll go with Chahal, won't they?
Oh, the great spinners. I'm just going through the questions as much as I can. Certainly, big series for Kuldeep. I've just mentioned that. His Indian batting lineup is as best as any team in Australia. And we've got to, in this broadcast, not talk about A, B, C teams, because this is the Indian team as it stands that's here for this match. So the wicket will definitely take spin. You'll see a lot more spinners. In fact, that's where Sri Lanka's only true advantage is. They've got some rather unknown spinners in their team. They could test India early on because of the lack of knowledge of their play. That's probably the only thing.
Well, there's a question now at Samson or Kishan. Won't Kishan keep wicket potentially? Isn't he going to keep wicket? Do you think?
Yeah.
And he'll play in front of Samson?
They've actually got 3 keepers, but Ishan Kishan certainly is a keeper. Samson's a keeper, and I believe Manish Pandey, I'm not sure, he may also keep it. There's definitely... Yeah, he keeps too?
I think it will be either Ishan Kishan or Manish Pandey at number 5. Because the reason is Manish Pandey is so good at controlling the innings.
But that means no room for Samson, doesn't it, Nilakshi? Samson won't play then, will he?
Samson, I think he will play at number 4.
So no Pandey then?
No, Pandya will be at number 6, Hardik Pandya.
No, but what about Manish Pandey? He's slotted at number 4.
I think it will be either Manish Pandey or Ishan Kishan at number 5.
Okay.
That's my guess. That's pretty strong. I mean, they are saying he'll be first drop, but I don't think so. I think
Sky bats
might be right there.
Sky, Nilakshi's there, right? Sky bats 3, doesn't he?
Yeah, Sky bats 3 certainly does.
I can't. They've got embarrassment of riches in their batting here. You know. But I've heard that Hardik's bowling is okay to bowl. So that gives them a lot of balance then, because he'll come in at probably 6. And if he can give them a few overs as well as his batting, we would. This is the same argument as their test team. We can have in this discussion. They really need him in England to balance out their test team. But apparently he's fit to bowl. I was looking this morning on the cricket info, and they've said he's been bowling. So
okay. There's a Rahul Dravid, of course, is the coach. Now he is an amazingly well-respected player and mentor and our coach. So his position is very, very much an important part of this. I'll just mention a few of the names that are from the Sri Lankan side that are not here. Danushka Gunatilaka, Kaushal Pereira, Kaushal Mendes, Niroshan Dickwella. 3 of their main batters and keeping strength in the side are not here. And I think Sri Lanka's going to rue actually giving them some sort of disqualification to play. They're going to rue that decision, because I think even though what they did was not good, they need it now.
So Dick Weller's still banned. Is that how it's working, or is it because he wouldn't sign a contract? What is it? Do we know why he's not playing?
Demuth Karunarata, you mentioned that.
No, Dick Weller. He was one who was sent back from England with a couple of others, wasn't he?
No, those actually caught in England for being out and breaking biological protocols.
But that was months ago.
No, it wasn't that long ago.
Well, but
and that would be it wasn't disqualification of time; it was disqualification of games, I believe, which means
so he's still
they haven't
serving
played games. So this is literally their first country hit out since then. So unfortunately, that's why they're out. Can Ravi Bishnoi make it to the Test team in the future? Ravi Bishnoi plays for West Indies, doesn't he?
I don't know much about him. I've got to
I think and he'll whitewash Sri Lanka. That's what's expected. Certainly, I'm just going to. It's rather exciting to have someone actually in Sri Lanka that we're going to bring live. I'm going to see what's happening.
I hope they don't whitewash them, and that's nothing against India. I just think that you want to see good cricket, and normally good cricket is close cricket, and that means games can go either way. And whitewash tends to suggest it's all very one-sided, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, the game, I know we're changing slightly countries, but the Pakistan-England 2020, I don't know if I actually saw any of that. I mean, England lost, but bloody hell, it was a great game. Crumbs. Yeah. England had a good chance of chasing down 2-3-5 for a while. You know, it was it's Trent Bridge, it's a big scoring ground, always.
It's interesting, they're talking about the Indian team, they're saying that there's no Virat Kohli, no Rohit Sharma, no Rishabh Pant, no Jasprit Bumrah. I honestly, really seriously, honestly, don't think they will miss them. They've got players that are going to handle their spots brilliantly.
If Indian supporters, Norman, are anything like what we were in England a couple of weeks ago, when we had to dump our one-day side and got in a completely separate 18 players who weren't involved at all, the British public and the journalists were absolutely enthralled by it. Everyone was really happy to see what you call a second or third string side come in and be given a go to see how they went. And they went brilliantly. Let's face it, they performed well. And all of a sudden, some players put their names right in the spotlight. And surely that's the same here. I bet the Indian public are absolutely riveted to see how Sky goes, how Bhuvanesh comes back, Kuldeep potentially, you know, and Hardik. I bet they're really, really excited to see it.
Just you keep talking.
That's okay. Do you think so, Nalakshi? Do you think that the Indian public are really happy to see what will be not quite the first 11 playing?
The thing, I'm really excited to see that most of the players, they were not in a combined team. They have not given the major roles, but now they are leading a major role in the team, and so that's something I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and they can start really knocking on the door of the first team if they perform well. They'll be dead keen, and it's not that weak a side, Norman. It's not that weak a side, for God's sake.
There's been confirmation that Ishan Kishan and Surya Kumar Yadav, Sky Yadav are both definitely playing.
Yeah, I think
they're making their ODI debuts. That's been confirmed.
They've got an exciting bloody number 2, 3, 4, 5, haven't they? India, crikey, they could bash it everywhere today.
I'm just going to see. Bear with me, guys. Again.
I mean, Shikhar Dhawan, I would suggest, will probably try and anchor it a bit more and let Prithvi, Sky, Pandey, Nishant just bash it. Is that what do you think? What do you think, actually?
Yeah, absolutely. I do. If they set up the platform pretty well, the openers, then there's a chance that obviously we will win the series. But yeah, I just want to whitewash them.
You want to watch Sky? That's who you want to watch.
No, not.
But I mean, they could go ballistic here, couldn't they?
Ali Esther's on her way. She's going to be there in a few minutes. So you take your time, Esther. Okay. You get the.
There's a question coming from Bikash. Hi, Bikash. I hope you're a subscriber. It's free to subscribe. I think Sri Lanka can give some competition. They are playing at home. They know their venues. You know, they'll be passionate about playing for their country. Of course they will. And I think any player who plays for his country will have pride in their performance. So I don't think it'll be completely one-sided. I hope it won't. I don't want it to be completely one-sided. And it depends.
As long as both teams play to their ability, and whoever wins is more important. I think as long as one team doesn't seem to be just lackluster and not have they've got to have a good structure to their heads and the way they play. Okay, all right. So it's been confirmed. Ishan Kishan and Surya Kumar Yadav both on the side, but we're yet to hear any more. The toss should be literally 5 minutes away, guys. And I'm excited to get Marley Esther on the phone because I get it live because she'll be able to judge. I'm assuming there'll be some crowd level. I don't know.
Well, she'll be able to do a pitch report, Norman. Get her out in the middle.
She would love to. Do you think? See, and this is it. Sanju Samson. There's a lot of people discussing his exclusion from the team because he really is someone who was probably ahead of a few of these players in the pecking order, lost his way a bit and has regained it. It's so hard. I mean, even Shreyas Iyer's not in the squad. They've got enormous depth here. It's quite astounding, really. It's going to be interesting. Okay. I think India will win the series, but no whitewash. Okay, Samantha Sastry, that's, I think we can't discount the fact that Sri Lanka might get away with a match here or there. Probably more likely in the ODI format than the T20 format, because I think India will be very clearly advantageous in that. The ODI format could be a wavering one, but yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I've just had a message through privately from Munchie just to say hi to everyone, and he is watching and listening, but he can't join in the comments or part of the show today. And he wants to say hi to Nilakshi, so that's from Munchie, but he is listening and watching. So hi, Munchie.
Hi, Munchie.
How's Chris? Is Chris there? What's Chris doing?
I haven't seen Chris yet this morning. You've got to bear in mind, Norman, I live in a large estate here. It's a very big house. He lives in the west wing of the house with his own staff. So I haven't seen him yet. And let's face it, when you live with your son in the same house, there's no conversation anymore. You don't have any real chats, do you? I mean, he doesn't want to talk to me at the best of times.
I think, but it's going to be interesting because Ishan. So we're assuming if Ishan Kishan's playing, that he will also be wicket keeping. That looks like the story.
Yeah, I think so. I like FS's last comment. Yeah.
Who's FS now? He's saying able to see Nilakshi having a crush for Sky. Okay.
Oh, and Nilakshi, I wish I had a crush for me instead. It would make an old man very happy.
No, Sky is not my type.
Now let's just look at this is a question we are going to. There's no doubt that Preeti Shaw's opening with Shikhar Dhawan. That seems to be settled. It is highly likely that the Sky Kumar is playing. He will probably go first drop, I'm going to assume. And they'll put Ishan Kishan second drop. Manish Pandey, if he's to play, may even drop down to the number 5 position.
I think
and then they'll
I think Kishant might bat 4, Pandy 4, Kishant 5, maybe.
I think
Okay.
Kishan will be good at fight because you need a left-handed batsman at number 5.
Good point. Good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
We're very close to an actual toss. They're going out to. They're making their way out there, by the looks of things.
You got live feed on, Norman?
Sorry?
You got the live feed on?
Well, it's a combination of that, yes. And I got but it's going to be. Look, I think that we've got so much cricket. There is other cricket on today, by the way. Zimbabwe are 3 for 88 versus Bangladesh.
Right.
And that's an ODI. Zimbabwe have held good account of themselves. I think even though Bangladesh is probably the better side, Zimbabwe are not in the qualifier, I don't think, for the T20. But anyway, so England and Pakistan are playing at Leeds tonight, aren't they? Correct?
This afternoon, it's tonight where you are. It's an afternoon game for us. I think it's 2:30 start.
Yeah, which is a long way away from now. Put it that way.
Not too far. 4 hours.
It's a fair way away.
And we've got the golf as well, of course. So
you're talking about the US Open, is it? No, what is it?
No, it's the Open. The Open Championship.
Oh, the British Open, of course.
British Open, final round. It's been a fantastic golf tournament, and it's being led by Louis Oosthuizen, who is a fantastic golfer, absolutely fantastic golfer.
That's just in the luxury, just to make that clear, for the luxuries.
And I had a bet on him. so I'm very pleased at the moment if he wins.
Now, I'm very much against people saying second string anything. This is the best side that Sri Lanka can put up at the moment due to their circumstances, I'm afraid. And that's not very good. Dhananjaya De Silva, he is a good player. He can actually lead by example. He can score big hundreds. So they're not out of the woods. If he gets, he's a bit of a pivotal batsman in the batting side, actually. If Dhananjaya, I think he'll probably bat number 3, and he'll be one of the most important batters in the team.
Someone's got to step up, Norman, haven't they, for Sri Lanka?
Yeah, Dhananjaya's going to step up.
In a couple of departments, a bowler's going to have to step up, and a batsman's going to have to major step up. It's,
it's quite a hard wicket. I'm actually trying to ascertain their keeper. I'm not even. Would you believe there's no marking of a keeper in their order?
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, there's no person that's been designated with a keeping position in their list of players. They've lost 3 of them: Kelsey Mendes, Pereira, and Ross Dickwella with their 3 keepers. So they've actually not. There's nobody here designated as the keeper.
No, Banuka.
Sorry,
Minod Banuka, I think is going to be. I think he's
yeah, but I'm just going by what quick info I've got. They've got their lists of player and role, and not one of them has got the name keeper against any of their names, which is extremely unusual.
Well, I think this is a new guy. Manab Banuka is a debutant. I think
I don't know. I'm not denying he's a new guy, but normally quick info tell you what position they're going to play.
Yeah. Well, they do in the English quick info, Norman. You just don't get quite the same level of competence over in Australia.
Yeah, I guess.
Good to see you back in your living room.
I heard that.
After your excursions in various parts of Australia. Nice to see you.
Well, actually, the weather looks particularly good, by the way. There's a great photo that's just gone on with both Surya Kumar Yadav and Ishan Kishan both getting their ODI caps.
I don't think we're getting a live feed in England of it. I don't think it's coming over to us here.
Yeah, it's interesting though because these 2 players have both played their ODIs, T20 T20 international debuts together, and they're playing their ODI international debuts together. That's rather unusual, isn't it?
Yeah.
If that doesn't put them in good stead with their ability to play together as a pair, and they're a very important pairing, actually. Okay. Who was in your second spinner, Chahal, Kuldeep, or Chahal and Varun? Great question. It really is a good question. I think Kuldeep's going to be put on the side. If he's not, If he's not put in the side, well, quite frankly, they're basically giving him. Well, the series got to be played out. I know, but that's an incredibly frustrating situation if you haven't got him playing. If you haven't got him playing in the squad, I must say. Okay, so Sri Lanka have won the toss.
Norman, I'm not such a big fan of Kuldeep.
Yeah, Sri Lanka have won the toss and have chosen to bat. So I applaud that because, quite frankly, Sri Lanka's only chance of winning this match was to bat first.
Well, it suggests it's going to spin, doesn't it? Doesn't that suggest it's dry, very bare, and they're thinking it will turn?
Yeah, it would suggest that. Yes, it would. But it's going to be. It's more of an interest that they probably needed to win the toss, and they have, which is something positive for them because they can put a score on the board now and attempt to put some sort of pressure on. Put some sort of pressure on the likes of the Indian players. The reality is that so Sri Lanka. I'm just writing this up as we go. I can't wait to get done.
I won't be looking forward to facing Bhuvi with the new ball, though. He's pretty decent, isn't he?
Oh, he certainly is. And on this wicket, it'll be interesting. Won the toss. So Sri Lanka won the toss and elected to bat.
By the way, they could do with him in England. In everything about English conditions says Bhuvanesh Kumar would be a real positive in the test team. I'm talking about test team here.
Well, I think the reason being, of course, was the only reason why it wasn't because it wasn't yet truly fit enough.
Yeah, but if he's fit now, I think India have got a good seam bowling attack. I think they tend to be a bit short, and in English conditions, you need to get it a bit fuller. And Bhuvanesh Kumar, it's what he does. He pitches it up because he's not quick enough to bowl too short. And I think he will bowl well here. I'll just go through what some of the people are saying. Historically, batting first has been an ideal situation here. Darshan Shanaka said. Bhanuka Rajapaksa is making his debut. Darshan said it's traditionally better to bat first. He also wanted to bat first as a due factor will come into play in the evening. Darwin says, I've got Prithi with me at the top of the order. Two debutants, Kuldeep and Chahal are the spinners. Okay. So
that's been pretty clearly stated who are the spinners now.
Two leg spinners then. Two wrist spinners.
Well, that's their best two spinners, let's be honest. And I'm applauding that Indian selection. That's a very good selection.
I think that Chahal's a good spinner. I think they've
Rahul Chahal. You said Rahul.
Chahal is playing, isn't he? Norman, you said Chahal and Kuldeep, the two wrist spinners.
The legs are the two spinners. There's no mention of Hardik's name at this point. It's too early to say that. But they're saying Samson, they're disappointed he's not playing. So that's the word with that. Yeah, so that's a bit of an unfortunate one. All right, we're just waiting to see some more information.
And the weather, do we know what the weather's doing, Norman?
The weather's perfectly good. Perfectly good. The weather looks actually very bright and sunny and warm and clear. So that's all going to be very, very much
because this is rainy season in Sri Lanka, isn't it? Have I got that very wrong? Is it not?
No, it's not. Not yet. That's more a month or so away. It's not far away, but it certainly can be, but it's probably not really quite at that position yet. But it won't be far from it, actually. I'll say that much.
I was out there in October a few years ago, and it was. I think that will be not their height there, so good, perfect for us English, not too hot. But yeah, they don't usually play cricket in Sri Lanka this time of the year, do they?
No, not normally. No, I mean, whenever I've toured there, I've gone there in April, which is extremely hot. Not unlike parts of India at the time as well. Well, I'm not seeing anything more moving. The team selections are coming out very short. We'll see in a minute. So Bhanuka Rajapaksa has been chosen. Now he's positioned in the side. Let's have a look what he does. I'm not aware of his play. He's actually a top order batter. Bhanuka Rajapaksa. With a name like Rajapaksa, that's okay. So that he is.
Oh, hold on.
We're getting a bat phone.
Yeah. It's a problem sitting in my office. You wouldn't think people would be ringing me on a Sunday morning, would you?
All right. So, yeah, the situation is quite interesting in terms of the fact that, well, again, Shikhar Dhawan, of course, at 35 years and 225 days, is the oldest announced captain, as in first time as captain. The oldest India to make ODI captaincy, at least. The previous oldest was Mahinda Amarnath back in '84.
Cool, crunch, you going back. Amarnath. Wow.
Yeah, I remember that name.
Sure, so do I. Mind you, that would be fairly sprightly in the West Indies side, wouldn't it, Norman? 35 years old? That would be one of the younger players.
I tell you what, you better keep quiet with the West Indies because they beat Australia yet again for when and England don't play them. They do. Do they play them in the? Are they on their draw? No. Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Well,
I tell you what, even though England should win and be on the top of that pool, they're not going to have it all their way with the West Indies. I tell you. I'm just surprised they're not actually. They're not this. They've mentioned the players, but they haven't actually given us the names yet.
And is it due 10:30 start, Norman?
Yes, it's due to start very soon, as in another 21 minutes. So let's keep going. Can England win today against? There's a question about left field. Can England win today to beat Pakistan?
I think England will. Yeah, of course they can. They're a good side.
What happened last match?
Well, they played a B team. They played a B bowling attack because they're having a look at a few players. It was nowhere. I think I said to you in the comments. It was nowhere near their first string bowling attack at all. The batting, again, he had a few changes. Morgan batted himself down to 6, so he could have a look at a couple of players above him. They're just having a look at a few players prior to the World Cup, aren't they? And if you do that, it means you can potentially lose. And we did. We got absolutely we got drubbed in the. Any side that goes to 2-3-5 is that's a big old score that in 20 overs.
Okay. Okay. I'm just looking at the teams now. The Indian team is as follows: Shikhar Dhawan and Prithvi Shaw are the opening batters. Sky Yadav is actually put in at number 3. Manish Pandey's 4. Ishan Kishan 5, which is exactly what Lakshi said. 6 is Hardik Pandya. 7 is Krunal Pandya, so his brothers in the team. Then they have Bhuvneshwar, was in Bhuvi Kumar, Deepak Chahar, Kuldeep Yadav, and also Yuzvendra Chahal. So Deepak
That's a lot of
Chahar,
spinners, isn't it? That's a lot.
Deepak Chahar is actually a fast bowler, medium fast bowler. I'm pretty sure.
But Krunal bowls spin, isn't it?
Yeah. Deepak Chahar played from Chennai Super Kings.
Say that again, Nakshi.
I didn't catch that. Sorry.
So, I can't understand you, Nakshi. Keep your microphone away from your mouth, actually.
I think it's the reception as much as anything, Norman, isn't it? Possibly.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
So, but Deepak Chahar is in fact an opening bowler with Kumar, and Yadav and Chahal, and then Krunal Pandya bowls and Hardik Pandya bowls. So, okay, that's the Indian team. All right. Let's go to the Sri Lankan team. It's Avishka Fernando with mid-on Bhanuka, who's also keeping, as you said. Bhanuka Rajapaksa is number 3. That's an incredibly raw top order. Dhananjaya De Silva at number 4. 5 is Charit Asalanka, who has played before. Dustin Shanaka is the captain, number 6. Wanindu Hazaranga, who's not a bad player, at number 7. Izuru Udana is at number 8. 9 is Lakshan Sandakan, who's a well-known spinner. And Dushmanthi Shamira, who's a fast bowler, and Shamika Karunaratne, who also bowls. So their side, the Sri Lankan side, is extremely weak in the top order, in all fairness. They've got some reasonably good middle order players. their bowling's a little bit light on as well, with only Shamira and Sandakan with any great experience. So they're going to suffer greatly, I'm afraid to say.
The thing is, Norman, that they've got a debut guy opening the batting. He might be the next biggest Sri Lankan player. We don't know. It might be his first game in a glittering career. We might be seeing him. You never know. Everyone has to start somewhere.
I don't know. There's no denying that they could be players of the future. I'm not saying they're not, but the mix of all players being put in together.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Is regardless of how good a player they are, it comes down to team harmony, batting partnerships, bowling partnerships, decision making around the field, awareness of who's a better player in a certain position than another on the day.
Yeah,
that's common. We all know that as anybody involved with cricket, you can have a bit of luck, but you're unlikely to have too much luck.
Yeah. I thought FS was quite a good contributor to your show, but his last comment, I think, lets him down. Norman, I'm afraid to say.
What is that?
FS, his last contribution on the comments has rather let him down. Any credibility he had as a human being, really. So I think the latch has got some problems with the reception.
No, actually, can you hear us? No, she's got some problems. She's not in a good spot.
Yeah, it's Wi-Fi, isn't it? We're lucky with the Wi-Fi here.
Yeah, it's going to be an issue for sure regarding the whole way that Sri Lanka plays this. But they're batting first, so their batters should be freer with their thought. They can play as best as they possibly can. Now, Chris Vernon's been asked to come on. He'll be on next time we get a chance. And when Chris is feeling a bit better, Chris has been under the weather at the moment, so he's not there for that reason. Shikhar Dhawan has a great record in ICC events, not normally as captain, but he's the ideal captain. His performances have been amazing for some time, and he will find it very hard to not be in the final side. I think there's a very good chance if he performs well in the series, he will be the person first in the World Cup. He's definitely going to be in the World Cup squad. Shikhar Dhawan will certainly be. I think they're going to be using him for sure.
I'm not so sure, Norman. I'm not so sure in the 2020s. I think they'll be looking at Sky and Kishan.
But I think
if Kohli's going to open the batting, you don't need Dhawan as well, do you?
No, okay. I'm not saying Dhawan's going to be in the walk-in side, but to be in the squad.
Maybe.
I meant more the squad. He'll be a backup to someone. He'll be there if needed. He's worthy of having in the squad if they fall upon a need to have him in the team. That's what I was probably getting at.
You always need class players in your squad, don't you, Norman? You're exactly right. And he's class. But if you're looking at what he will do, then he's sort of taking the same place as Kohli in that role, I would guess. Whereas Sky and Chad are going to come in with the bravado of youth and give it a crash.
Well, it's also interesting to see whether they actually have the likes of KL Rahul in that T20 squad. I'm not saying he's in the team, but he's worthy of considering for the squad, and that's where it's going to be very interesting to see what takes place there. Yeah, so looking at it's quite incredible. They haven't got Samson on the side. He would probably walk into most sides.
Yeah, I thought they'd go with Kishan and Sky. I just had a feeling that they'd do that. Sometimes you're out of favour, Norman, aren't you? Sometimes you're just a little bit out of favour with the management or whatever, for whatever reason. We don't know what goes on the training field, in the dressing room, do we?
Oh, no, that's true. It is interesting. We talk about, people are always asking about both Radharaj and Gaikwad and even Padikkal. They're three incredible batters that are in the IPL mix and doing really well. They may factor in the T20 tournament side of the tournament. They may. I think you'll probably find that India will win, their first and second game, and they experiment with the third team to an extent to give some of the other players a go. I think that might happen. And why not?
Looks, Norman, I like the settled side. A settled side in tournaments does best, don't they?
I know. I agree with you. But I mean, that seems to be the way that they do things these days. Richard, they really do play a lot with that I'm afraid.
The thing
Seems
is,
to be more
you
commonly
know,
used.
as a quality cricketer that you are, that form and playing is the best way to keep your confidence high and your performances going. I was a batter and I just wanted to bat. I didn't want to be sat there not batting, you know?
No, I understand that. But, yeah, look, Samsung is probably what I can acknowledge is probably a better keeper than Ishaq Shan, what I'm hearing. And that's where there's an issue. That's that difference between the two.
Yeah, but they think they see Ishant as a potential batting superstar, don't they?
They do. So the keeping duties would probably not want to fall on his shoulders. And Kunal Pandya is the player that I would argue
I don't get it.
I don't think he's.
I watched him in the winter. I just don't get it. India have got better players. Look, I'm not an Indian expert, but if you're telling me that they haven't got better players than Krunal Pandya, and he's not young, he's the older brother, isn't he? I think he's in his 30s.
I just don't know whether there's a bit of what's the word for it? What's the term for it when you playing with it?
Here's some controversy for you, Norman. I think I'm right in saying that Hardik and Kohli are very good friends. I think they're good pals.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Yeah, okay. And so Hardik's brother's getting a good gig having a good go all of a sudden. Hadn't been in
I've got no doubt. I've got no doubt.
I mean, I don't know if that's right or not.
But you know,
there's nepotism going on, maybe.
But in all fairness, sometimes those team synergies are a good thing that you do want to have. I don't know. In his very first match, he did play pretty well.
Yes, Munchie said nepotism is the word we're looking for. I did
correct.
Yeah, I did. We're on the show with an Australian Munchie. You know, nepotism is a bit of a posh word, isn't it?
Yeah. Bit of nepotism. Yeah, there's a fair point there. How are we going now, Munchie?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. That's great. That's great. That's good. That's good. I think you've worked out your issue there. So if we look at the situation in terms of the time, we've got the game starting and appears to be actually now there's a bit of a work now. We've talked about Sanju Samson actually. It's not because he wasn't selected. There's word coming out now that he sprained a ligament in his knee and hence was not available for selection for this game from the BCCI. So Sanju Samson has actually got an injury. So that at least clears that matter up in terms of our people. The medical team is tracking his progress at the moment. So in terms of the Sri Lankan batting side,
if he's strained a ligament in his knee, Norman, he's going to be out for a while. That is not a 2-day turnaround, is it? A strained ligament in your knee. So we will know in a few days' time whether the BCI is just spinning a bit of a political statement or not. Strained ligament in your knee is go back to India. I'm sorry, you're going to be out for a couple of months, isn't it? We've all done it.
Okay.
It's not a quick turnaround injury, that.
Actually, I'm trying to work out how you sprain a ligament. I thought you tear a ligament. You don't sprain the ligament.
It sounds like a statement where the management are managing a team selection decision to me.
Yeah. But I mean, I never heard the term spraining a ligament. I've heard you tear a ligament, strain a ligament, not.
That doesn't. That's a strange thing to come out with. So they're saying he would have played. So what they're saying is, by saying that, are they saying he would have played if he'd been fit? Is that how you read that?
Well, you have to. You have to read it that way.
So what does that tell you? Now, you see, I never get this. What does that say to the players in the team then? If it was me and I'm being selected to play, and then the manager turned around and saying, yeah, but we had old Joe Bloggs, he would have played if he'd been fit, I'll be thinking, oh, right, okay. So I wasn't in your first choice team then. It's a very strange thing to come out and say.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Oh, Munchie says you can have an extension where the ligament is overly stretched but not torn. And believe me, Munchie knows about knees.
Does he?
Oh, crikey, he was an old croc. He could hardly stand up most weeks. You've never seen a bloke so injured as Munchie.
There's an interesting comment. How to watch live in Australia? Well, I believe it's on Foxtel, on the KO network, which is combined. Now, here's a question. This is Charles Manju said he saw Samson smash a 150k Sean Tate in the IPL and thought that was the next big star. There's been a lot of raps on Samson as well as Shreyas Iyer. They have had big raps on Samson, really. And even, don't forget, he got a century in one of the early IPL matches this season. He's not exactly out of form, but yeah, anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. So we've got
people have got to get over the fact that pace doesn't always mean that they are absolutely brilliant. It's pace and skill. Just because someone's bowling quick does not mean that they're going to be getting you out. You've got to do something with it as well.
And that's true.
Look at the greatest bowlers ever to have played the game, as far as what we will consider. If you're talking about Glenn McGrath, was possibly one of the great bowlers. He was bowling in the back end of most of his career. He bowled about 86, but in the back end he was bowling about 82, 83, I think.
Yeah.
And Hadley did the same. These were quality bowlers. It's not all about pace. It really isn't. So
no, I do get that. I mean, it's a fair point to say that. I do get that. But I think at the same time, though, he was quite a pretty good 10 quality bowler, especially in the shorter format. He was very impressive, actually.
Yeah. You look at Lillian Thompson, Norman. Would you say Dennis Lilly was a better bowler when he went slightly off a shorter run and just slowed it a little bit? I think he became a better bowler.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yep, certainly.
It's not all about just running in and slinging it down as fast as you can.
No, but Sean Tate, I don't know what you saw of Sean Tate.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, big bloke. That's for sure.
And he in the short format, he played Test match, I think, or one or two. But in the short format, he was unbelievable, and he was very accurate, surprisingly enough, and would just let loose, and it was particularly lethal, to be honest. Many people think he's the fastest bowler Australia's ever had.
Can you hear us, Nilax? You back with us? Who are you looking forward to most seeing today? Who's the player to watch? Apart from Sky.
All of them.
All of them?
No. All of them.
You love them all?
Equally?
No. Yeah.
Look,
it's now 5 minutes to go before the match actually starts.
I've got a live feed on, Norman. I can see it as we're talking. I'm watching a live feed. I found a live feed on an obscure Indian channel that's on our satellite system. Yeah, I've got Sky. It's on a channel called Food XP, would you believe? An Indian food channel, an Indian cooking channel in the UK.
You're kidding.
I'm not. The channel is called Food XP. And I've searched through because we have hundreds and hundreds, like I'm sure you do in Australia, channels, and they're showing this on this channel here. So they're just doing the national anthems at the moment. They're just out there doing the national anthems.
Okay, so FS, do you know who FS is? Have you got any idea who FS is?
He's a subscriber though, Norman. So
no, he's more than a subscriber. He's a member, actually.
He's a member. So what you should do, Norman, is you should do a special members only show for questions and answers, or bring in.
Well, what I have done is I've put a couple of videos on just for members that only members can see, and that's worked out really well. They were exclusives, to be honest with you. They were
is that you playing, Norman? That's not much of a membership.
Now, if it was me playing, you'd probably need to have a gold leaf membership or a platinum membership. That's exclusive.
Comes with a health warning.
No health warning at all. I actually you said you woke up to me nude in a video. Well, that actually hasn't viewed very well, that one. I'm surprised about that. I thought it was viewed very well.
What a way to wake up on a Sunday morning watching you naked in a blue lagoon in Sri Lanka, was it?
Yeah, this is a good question. What do you think about this, all of you? I would argue they won't, because Indian bowlers with Kumar, the experience levels of Chahal, and even Kuldeep, they're going to be pretty. Oh boy, it's going to be interesting. So they've had the national anthems. Are they out in the field yet?
No, they're just finishing now. It comes down it always in cricket. Normally, it tends to come down to the start in whatever form you're playing. If you can get off to a good start, then the game takes on a different perspective, doesn't it? If Sri Lanka can go,
the batting strength is actually
Dharma Singh is the number 4. He can play. But if they can get off to a good start, you know.
Yeah. They're going to be, they got a brand new number 3. For someone to debut as a number 3, that says a lot of how short they are.
It's going to be.
Dhanajaya should have been. Dhanajaya, I think, should have been number 3, because he is a very good player. And
I like Dhanajaya. He got some runs over here, didn't he? A few weeks ago. Yeah. He looked a decent player.
He's a very good player, and probably needs to take the handle of the match early. And going in behind a person who's debuting is a slight worry, because if he goes early, well, you know, they've just wasted the wicket, I guess.
The bottom line, Norman, is they're a proud nation, aren't they, Sri Lanka? They're a proud cricketing nation.
They are, and
they're
it's
a new
embarrassing
nation
to go through this.
But they've already won a World ODI World Cup. They've won a 2020 World Cup. All right, they're going through a little bit of a lull here for whatever reason, but every side goes through dips and troughs, especially when you're a smaller nation. You know, they haven't got the talent pool to be picking from all the time.
But they have got.
Oh yeah, okay. but I haven't.
You can't use that argument, because New Zealand. Look at New Zealand's population. You can't say that.
New Zealand haven't been at the top of the tree until recently. They were always a side who were just bubbling under, weren't they? If you go back to the 80s, early 2000s, good side, but nothing special.
Okay, so Charles Manju was saying that Sri Lanka are all out for 180, and then he's asking us to predict the Sri Lankan score. Let's see who's right. All the very best to India. Okay, so and hello there to Suman Awathi there.
I'd like to predict. I haven't seen what the wicket's going to do. I think it's hard to do a prediction.
It's likely to be a pretty good batting wicket, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. It's not going to. So
Charles Manju says Sri Lanka all out for 180. What do you think?
Having not seen the wicket at all or anything, I think that Sri Lanka will get 238.
Wow, that's well above what I would expect them to get.
Yeah,
I'm going to say the 180 that Charles Manju said. I think it'll be 175. So I think it'll be very close.
The only thing I know about this ground is it's usually a good place to bat.
Yeah, but if you've got some, you've got to be able to have the experience at that level as well. So, guys, everyone that's putting comments as to scores, put it in the post the interview, post this live broadcast. Put it in the comments, and that's the best. Don't leave it in the live chat alone. Suman Awashi and Shail Manju, put that into the post comments, and then I can track it better than having it in the live chat.
Countdown. We're about to start, Norman. Have you got a live feed on?
Yeah.
Yep. So first ball, it was a length. It didn't look that bounce very high. Crikey! Did you see that?
Yeah. It is. Well, most Sri Lankan wickets are pretty low bouncing anyway. To be honest with you, they're
Randy Ball's opening seamer. That looks like it's a little bit.
I mean, Gaul is very low bouncing. SSC is normally low bouncing. Premadasa is saying probably the best batting surface they've got. Hamantota's not too bad, and then you've got Palakela, which is pretty good too. But yeah, and Dumbulla's more one-day oriented. Downfall of Sri Lanka is that they don't have strong national cricketing tournaments to groom young talents like Ranji Dilip Trophy for India. Correct, absolutely correct.
But they're trying, aren't they, with the Sri Lankan Premier League?
They're fragmented. There's political problems going on, even in the domestic level. What province gets what player? Who gets to do this? Who gets to do that? Where the money flows? Where in the Sri Lankan cricket ball the money flows out from is anyone's guess.
Yeah.
Satpal Singh, namaste, Norman. Namaste back.
Namaste.
All right, so we've got Bhuvi opening the bowling.
Yeah.
And he's a gun.
Yeah, he bowls at about 80 mile an hour, doesn't he, Norman? Would that be about right? I can't see. He's not.
He's not overly fast, but he's slick enough.
But he's bowling outswingers to the right-hander here. That one carried through better to the keeper, but only again at sort of groin height.
Okay. You see, talk for a bit longer. I've got Estelle on the line.
Yeah, he's not. I wouldn't say he's smacking into the gloves here. I think. So they're showing an overall picture of the ground. It looks like they're playing in the middle of the oval here. Yeah, Boothie's bowling a nice line and length. He's just, I think he's fitting himself into his spell. I think he's been off for injury, hasn't he, Norman? I think for a while. So he'll want to just work himself into the spell a little bit, I think. Most fast bowlers would, after an injury layoff, would just take a few overs just to feel their way back in a little bit. He's let one go down the leg. So he tried to bowl his in-swinger, I think, there. So that's about the fourth or fifth ball. It's gone for a wide down the leg side. But it took off a little bit. I don't know. I might be saying all this, and everyone who's watching this is watching the live feeds as well. So we're talking to people who are watching the pictures. I do like him as a bowler, Norman. I'm pleased he's not coming over to the UK, to England, to play against us.
So she's just, the poor thing has just got there, and we've just had she's there. And she's out front now, and weather looks fantastic. She's going to be joining us very shortly.
There's no crowd.
Norman, she wanted to go video with me on my phone. I said, no, that's not how it works.
Is she able to get into the ground?
No, she's not. Well, she's not going to go into the ground because I couldn't get a broadcast happening from inside the ground anyway. So
yeah,
she's outside the ground.
In Norman, I'm looking at when they pan out a little bit here, and I don't think there's any spectators in.
No, I didn't expect. Even if there were, she wouldn't be going inside. That was never that was meant to be an outside broadcast view. So I think we've got her joining us now. We have. She has to turn the video on. She's very close. She's actually tried to get in. It
took me about 3 days to work out how to join.
Yeah,
and sent me the link, Norman, because I'm old and stupid.
It's not. But once you hit the well, she's put her name in, so she's gone that far.
Then you have to enter studio, isn't it? If I remember, but
yeah,
I had to get to that point, Norman. That was where it caused me some problems. Actually, getting to be able to open it.
Well, we've lost Nalakshi now.
She had actually had problems with her feed, with her Wi-Fi, doesn't she? Which makes her trying to hear what she's saying, and it comes over very disjointed. And
it's a bit of a pity, really.
It's a shame. She's a lovely girl, and she clearly likes Sky.
All right. So, in terms of the match, I really want to get this live feed happening because that would be really good. So she said she enjoyed talking to us both. That's what she's just said. We've got to get this live feed happening. So she's so close. So she's obviously it's so tantalizingly close because she's there.
Yeah.
And she's behind the screens. And Marley Esther, she's actually got her name written in. She simply can't get the last stage of it done, which is okay. Which will be upsetting because she's actually. What I will do with her is I'll do a separate recording on a video with her after, just to get that done. If need be.
So Chahar's taking the new ball.
Yep.
Oh, hello! He nearly broke his ankle there, Norman. What's gone on there? He pulled out.
So what pace is he bowling at?
Well, I've got a live feed on here that's showing it's got no captions at all on it. So normally you get the score, the bowler.
He's not the spin bowler, he's the medium pacer, correct?
No, he is. And he just
pulled out. He bowled particularly well for his IPL side. So both the other Chahal
is quite tall.
And this is Chahar. The player, the one you're talking about is Chahar.
Yeah, this is Chahar. He's tall and lean, and he runs in pretty tough, pretty hard. It looks like he's bowling a reasonably quick delivery. As I say, I've got no graphics at all. I couldn't even tell you the score, who's bowling, particularly. Normally it all comes up, but not on this feed. So I can't help on the bowling speeds. But looking at that second ball, I would have guessed that was probably around about 84, 85 miles an hour. He's got a nice measured run up. Well, that was a very nice shot. So he's bowled here. He's bowled it short of a length, and the batsman has stood up on his back foot and just placed it off the back foot for extra cover for two, which suggests that the wicket's got a nice even bounce and a good pace to it. A nice even pace to it. And you can play shots like that off an opening bowler. Shame, Manu, is that 2,000 COVID cases, I assume? Well, that's going to be our first boundary of the day, Norman. It's a full-length ball outside off stump. The opening right-handed bat looks like he's a player. I think that's Fernando, isn't it? Would he be the opening right-hander? He can certainly play a bit. It was it wasn't really a half volley. He's played it on the up, but he's played a very nice shot. So Sri Lanka got off to a nice start here, I'd say. Going nicely.
Yeah, unfortunately she's had some technical issues there. So
okay.
Love to see the respect you guys give for each other.
When you get to our age, FS, that's all you got left. So is it another 4 hits, consecutive boundaries? So the bowler's overcorrected slightly and put it on leg stump, fairly full. It's a very nice shot, that, Norman. He's just whipped it straight off leg stump over the top of deep backward square, in the air for quite a long time, but there's no fielders out there. This the right-hander, is this Fernando or is this the debutant? Sorry, I've got no.
Oh, the debutant's first drop.
Okay, so do we know who the right-hander is? He's got Avinka written on his back. Avishka Fernando, who's opening, is an experienced batter. Fernando. He's actually the right-hander, and Minod Banuka is the left-hander. And he's the keeper. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. Yeah. So Minod Banuka he's only faced one ball so far. Yeah. And Avishka's taken most of the strike, and he's the one that you're talking about. Avishka Fernando is actually a particularly good player. Well, he's played a couple of nice boundaries this over. Yeah. I mean, all right, most opening batsmen in world cricket would like a ball on leg stump. Sort of half volley on leg stump, that would be generally put away, apart from your. Avishka Fernando is an experienced player. He has played some international matches and has actually batted pretty well. Avishka Fernando, he's played 20. He's played 20 ODIs and 17 T20s, so he's not inexperienced, and he scored a couple of centuries at the ODI level. So he's not to be messed with. He's not a bad player. Yeah. So I think that's 2 overs down. I haven't got a scorecard, but I'm guessing it's about 14 or so. It is 2 overs down, correct? Yeah. And it's then no wicket has fallen. And Deepak Chahar was quite expensive, whereas Bhuvanesh was actually quite inexpensive. So look, Minod Banuka is the one that we're going to really see what he's like, because he's facing up now, isn't he? So he will be the one tested more so. Yeah. Are you staying on here for much longer, Norman, or are we going to depart and have a watch? No, we're going to depart now. I'm going to try to get Esther on. I'm going to do a recorded video with her, because she actually did exactly what she did. She was actually backstage, so someone helped to get all the way on, but maybe it was the inability of the phone. She's actually getting a new phone, so don't worry. I'll get a video from her and I'll upload that, so it'll be good. Yeah, well, enjoy the cricket. Enjoy the 2020 with Pakistan, if you get to watch any of that this afternoon. That could certainly be between Australia and Pakistan you're talking about. Absolutely. That'll be interesting as well. Pakistan, yeah. And then the Open Golf, and it's all going on today. And the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. There's a lot of sport going on. You are in the summer. You are in summer here. We're in bloody winter here. The left-hander has gone off the mark. There we go. Nice little push. He fell over when he played it, but nice push to square leg for 2. Nice, be pleased, won't he? Oh, Norman. Imagine the relief.
I still don't think Sri Lanka will get many runs, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. The way the wicket looks here, if
Quite
they
flat.
can get a solid start, which they have, well, they have so far, but say after 10 overs, there's something like 45 for naught of 10. I would see them going on to certainly bat their 50 overs.
Well, it's a hell of an early call. Very early call.
I'm not a fan of seeing two wrist spinners. I think that's a gamble. Wrist spinners are wicket takers, but they also go for runs. It's rare to see a wrist spinner have great economy rates. So,
but the Indian pairing are pretty damn good. Let's be honest.
Well, I'm not a massive fan of Kuldeep. I think he's got a lot to prove. In international cricket. So I didn't think he bowled very well at all against England when we saw him. And I don't like Krunal either as a spinner. I think I don't get that. So we'll see. Maybe there's a chance for Sri Lanka here.
And again, we're going to talk more about this match. I'm not sure if I'm going to have a post show at this stage. It'll be probably tomorrow. I may. I don't think so. But I'll do a pre-show tomorrow. The other point is that we'll do pre-shows for all the matches. Also, there's been a large amount of excitement about India versus Pakistan when that discussion comes into play with the World Cup.
Let's say something on that, Norman.
Yeah.
I was watching the England 2020, and there was a great crowd in, and the Pakistani and the English supporters are all stood each other, drinking beers and laughing and bantering and everything. It is such a shame that India and Pakistan can't get together to play cricket, because we're talking cricket here. We're talking a sport.
There's no doubt that if India and Pakistan play, the crowds would be all for it.
Yeah, I know they would, and I know it's politics and history and everything. But what a great shame that the world of cricket is deprived of one of the great matchups, and the passion that will be in that, and the rivalry. But it's got to be a good rivalry, Norman. You understand what I'm saying? You don't want it to be an evil rivalry. You want it to be a good rivalry, and where the fans can. And I know the fans would have to be segregated, which is a shame. But
I've just been updated by Esther. She has not a problem with her phone. She actually has a police problem.
Oh, okay.
The Sri Lankan police are wondering, one, what is she doing at the venue? Because there's always had an issue with terrorism, male, female, pregnant, old, young, it doesn't matter. And on second to that, because she's not accredited to do this with them. And the other thing is she's out during a COVID period. So there's a duality of problems there.
Okay. I would say that Sri Lanka are going quite nicely here, Norman. There hasn't been any big issues. That's pretty much the end of the third over. There's not been any plays and misses. The runs are just flying nicely. They're probably up to about 20. I haven't got any scorecard at all. But that's a very pleasant start, I would suggest, for Sri Lanka. Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect outside of this venue. It's a bit of a blind thing to me. So it looks like there's no possibility of doing it from, which is typically Sri Lankan. I might get her to do it out front of the major hotels or where the players say maybe more probably. Yep. All right.
I should sign off. So it's been lovely to chat to you so early in my day.
Thank you again for coming on air. I appreciate that, and hope you enjoyed it. All right,
lovely, sunny, beautiful hot day. So you have a good day, Norman. Take care, my friend.
I will. Thank you very much. Ciao, ciao.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Ciao. Bye bye. Well, as you saw, we had Banstead Boy there, and we had Nilachi. We're meant to be getting Mali Esther here online. She's been stopped by the police outside of the Sri Lankan venue, Premadasa, for doing any vision, which is crazy, but that's Sri Lanka for you, so we'll have to deal with that. Would you take your take on Dinesh Karthik as a commentator in recent controversies? Well, Dinesh Karthik probably needs to pull himself in a bit. I think he went a bit too far on occasions, but that was unfortunate. But otherwise, he's pretty good. So I'm not going to really be able to pass much on. Whereas Siddharth's actually busy with the Olympics today. So he's got a bit of Olympic coverage. That's why he's doing that. So that's why he's not here. So guys, we might call it quits. I'm going to put together a video with Mali Esther, who's actually in Sri Lanka at the stadium, and we can talk more from there. that'll be more the situation available there. So unless you've got some other questions, we can look at the scorecard. Sri Lanka are now none for 21 after 3.1 overs, with Avishka on 17 looking particularly good, having played 21 matches. And Midod Banuka, who has actually played 2 matches, but yeah, he is not at 3. And both Deepak Chahar, the right-arm medium pacer, and Kumar are both bowling at the moment, with Kuldeep, Chahal, Krunal Pandya and Hardik Pandya there to back it up as well. A bit of depth there as far as their bowling attack is concerned. Their batting side will be India will be in complete command when it comes to their batting. That's for sure. Is there any more questions, guys? Just let me know of any questions you've got. It does look to me as if Sri Lanka are going to have a better fist of it earlier on. But if you go through their batting lineup again, the batting lineup of Sri Lanka, that is, they have with Avishka Fernando and Midod Banuka in there now, but another Banuka, this time Rajapaksa's first drop. He's an unknown. We'll see how he plays. Dhananjaya De Silva is actually a very good player. Charit Asalanka is also good, and Dustin Shanaka is not bad. So they've got some talent there. Wanindu Hazaranga also can play. And then Karunaratne, the bowler. Izuru Udana, not a bad bowler, but just month of Chamira and Lakshan Sandakar, well known. Sandakar is a spinner. So Australian bowling attack's not totally inferior, but the Indian batting line is superior. Sri Lanka 200 plus AP Gunner. I've said actually 175. We've had other people. I think Shalul is actually 180. Baines said, boy, said 230, 240. Well, it's anything's possible. So yeah, we'll be back on tomorrow at 6 p.m. IST, Indian Standard Time. That's what it's called. It means 6 p.m. live again, Indian time today. Quite likely, we'll see how we go. We'll have another turnout then. So as far as this broadcast is concerned, this was a preview of the first ODI between Sri Lanka and India. Sri Lanka chosen to bat after winning the toss. They blooded a new batter as in Banuka Rajapaksa, and obviously India had there's you'll see behind me Beyond Bala, and Jeffrey Bala was a very famous Sri Lankan architect. So I've got that book there. The reality is that India have blooded both Ishan Kishan and Sky Kumar Yadav in the side. They both have experienced T20 players. They've also been given their nod there. They've been given their nod out of the ODI series, obviously without the likes of Kohli's and the many other players that are in Sharmas that are actually over in England preparing for the Test series August 4th. August 4th is only 2 weeks away from that particular series starts, which will be an excellent starting point as well. All right, so any more questions, guys? Again, Sri Lanka are currently none for 23 after what is virtually 4 overs. Avishka Fernando, who was an experienced player of some 20-odd matches, is actually on 18 not out. All right, guys, we might go close to ending it there, and I'll talk to you again hopefully later on this afternoon, but definitely tomorrow as well. So I'll get a private video of Amalia to come through as well, if you like. We might add that onto where she is. All right, so we might leave it at that, guys. If there's no more questions, again, Sri Lanka are none for 23. They've got a batting current run rate of 5.75. It's quite reasonable. India should win comfortably. What do you say? We've been saying along that should be the case. Sri Lanka's got more of a chance because they batted first, and they could set a score, but you'd have to think that Eshan Wardner thinks that after the Eshan, Sri Lanka will score 250 plus. Well, they're going to, at the moment, they're going on a run rate that'll get them close to that for sure if they continue in this way. We'll have to wait and see how they go. And Dhananjaya is important to this batting line and see where he fits in. He could be very significant indeed. So, are there any other questions? No, we haven't got any more questions. All right, guys. Just note that Sri Lanka have, if you didn't hear the teams, they have blooded a new first drop batsman, Banuka Rajapaksa, with the openers of Avishka Fernando and Midod Banuka, who's also keeping. They lost 3 keepers. They lost Kaushal Mendes, Pereira, and Nirosh and Dickwella. They're three keepers that are all gone. And then you've got Dhananjaya De Silva at number 4, Charat Asalanka, who's a pretty good player, Dashun Shanaka, who's actually the captain, and then Winindu Hazaranga, who's played a bit, Chamika Karunarat, the bowler, not the batter, Demuth, Izuru Udana, just Mantha Chamira is a very good bowler. Gone through some injuries, but good bowler. And Lakshan Sanakan, very experienced at this level. Who'll be the man of the match? It's going to be, I reckon, either Ishan Kishan or Sky Kumar will take charge on the bat. Sanju Samson should have played today. No, he couldn't play because he actually had an injury. He's got a so-called sprain to one of his ligaments in his knee, and he's out from today's match. That's what the official word for the BCCI is. Sanju Samson was not even considered because he was injured. Okay. That's the word in case you didn't hear that. Yeah, so the police in Sri Lanka, outside of Premadasa Stadium, RPS Stadium, have actually not allowed Mali Esther to actually perform a video in front of their live. They've stopped to the police, probably a combination of COVID plus the whole terrorism that's always hanging over Sri Lanka, and thirdly, lack of a permit. So that's probably what's happened there, which is unfortunate, very unfortunate. All right. We've got, the viewing of this is particularly good. Again, in case you don't know, Sri Lanka won the toss and batted none for 23 after 4.4 overs. Both the opening bowlers of Kumar and Chahar are still bowling. They're bowling in their third overs each. And they're certainly bowling well. Avishka is on 18 off 22, and Mido Banuka is 4 off 7. Rajapaksa, De Silva, Asalanka, Shanaka, and Hasaranga the batting order, with Rinaratnam, not Demuth, but the other, Chamika, and Izuru Udana, and just Mantha Chamira, who's a good bowler, and Lakshan Sanakan, the spinner. So that's their side. The Indian side are probably a lot more. Look at that for a batting side. Darwan Shaw, Ishak Kanchan is batting at number 3. He's keeping as well. Manish Pandey, Sky Yadav, Hardik and Krunal Pandya, Bhuvi Kumar, Dibat Chahar, Yadav, and Chahal. So there's a lot of bowling depth there as well. That is Suman Awashi. That's a very nice comment. The fact that today is Ishan's birthday, and as well, guys. Esther, are you okay? Okay, I'm going to call you now. Hang on 2 seconds. I'm going to call you now. Okay, on the video. All right, everyone. So we'll end our broadcast now, and we'll talk more very shortly. And I'll have an additional video here with Mali Esther as well. So that'd be great. Just ask you, I was Pakistan England prediction. Well, Pakistan won the first match. I'm thinking they're going to win another match. I think they got a bit of form up with Baba Azam's the key. You think this series, which player had this biggest impact on that career? Well, it's going to be Ishan Kishan, Sky Kumar, definitely. Obviously, the likes of Prithi Shaw and Darwin are also important. And it could be the last legs for Colby as well. If he doesn't perform well, he may be not given much of a hope after that as well. So that's my thoughts on that at this point in time. Yeah, but we certainly have a lot riding on this match, with Shikadal and Shaw both pressing for positions in the T20 format coming up. Ishan Kishan and Sky Kumar as well. Look, there's a whole host of players that are careers are on the line. Hardik Pandya as well, and certainly Kuldeep Yadav. Krunal Pandya, well, he's more fringe, and last but not least, Bhuvi Kumar. All right, guys, why Australian cricket team is playing poor? So they come and beaten. Well, there's no doubt about Australia are underprepared, they're lacking good talent anymore. The good players that are still out here are not necessarily improved the side. South Africa up and down anyway, I wouldn't predict that. Both Australia and South Africa are not going to make the Final Four. It'll be West Indies versus England, and that's in that particular group, Group 1. Another group will be India and possibly Pakistan / New Zealand. guys, we'll just give it a minute. We're going to looking at the scoreboard as it stands. Sri Lanka are done for 26. Their run rate's been somewhat brought back. It looks like both Kumar and Chahar are getting their line length down pat now, and they're making it increasingly difficult for the Sri Lankans. 9 for 26. They've not lost a wicket for the first close 6 overs, which is a pretty big achievement in itself. Marley Esther's trying to get on again. Marley Esther's trying to go. We're not going to get it on here. Hang on a sec, guys. Just give us a minute. We might see where we can get on. How excited are you to see Kucha play together after 2 years? Well, as in Kuldeep and Chahar. I think that's a pretty good excitement. They are good bowlers. So Esther's very, very close, guys. We're very, very close to getting Esther on here. Marley Esther's very close. It's very frustrating. The poor thing wants to get on. It's the frustration of not knowing the system for this. So we only could work out edit name. What are the changes that England should make in their T20 team today? Well, they rested a lot of players. They experimented with a lot of players. They're doing a bit of a rotation, guys. They may put their best players back into the side. It's not a matter of changes. It's a matter of bringing back their best player. It was the second string players that were on deck, that's for sure. So, yeah, that's where that sits, to be honest. That's where that problem is. It's more of an issue of let's see where Esther is now. She's right there. She's right there. Okay. Right, guys, we may have to cut this short. You can watch the live feed if you want to. The live feed is there now. I'm not sure whether there are programs where they have actually the live feed on. Let me let's check one more time. No, she's gone. Okay. So Sri Lanka are after 6.1 overs, none for 26. Avishka Fernandez on 20 and Banuka, the keeper batsman, is on 4. And they've almost finished 6.1 overs, only having scored. Well, they haven't lost wickets. I suppose that's the main benefit of what they've done. It certainly is a benefit if you haven't actually had guests again. What's else? All right, guys. We might allow Esther's trying very, very hard to get on. Yeah, it's a solid start by the Sri Lankans. You're right. Absolutely. All right, guys. We might call it quits now. So that's great. So, again, Sri Lanka are none for 29. Avishka Fernandez on 22, not out. And Midod Banuka's on 4 with 3 extras. None for 29 after some 6.2 overs. India batting second. They have both, of course, Kuldeep and Chahar, as well as Bhuvi Kumar in the bowling attack with the Pandey brothers there as well. So we'll say goodbye then. So all the best, guys. Thank you very much and see you again soon.